Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Thomas Galgani Show. Today is Cinema Saturday, and we will be discussing The Drop. The movie came out in 2014, stars Tom Hardy, James Gandolfini, and the female lead is Noomi Rapace. Hope I'm pronouncing that right, but she did a great job. And I bring up the actors first and foremost because I feel like it's a really good character study, really good character development in this movie. A lot of kind of moral dilemmas here and there, and that's kind of what I wanted to get into with it today is, with these Cinema Saturday episodes, sometimes I'll get super specific if I feel like it's relevant and I want to talk about it, but other times I kind of like, just the overall story of it. Because this one in particular didn't strike me as the best cinematography, so to speak. And when I say cinematography, like what a lot of people mean by that is also, again, just the image on screen. So that can be, the color, but it's so many other things when it comes to like camera placement, camera movement. So the composition of the frame and everything. And it's interesting. We won't be going into shows but just as a quick reference, when I think of shows like Peaky Blinders or what's the other new one that, the one that you guys like a lot.
Like a mobster show?
Yeah, or it's not Peaky Blinders. It's like another one that is it's a newer show.
But that same genre though?
Yeah.
Oh.
Either way, there's Peaky Blinders, but then there's another one we could bring up, which is the what's his name? The mob show that we talked about a lot. We talked about that show in here before, The Gentleman.
Oh, right.
Guy Ritchie. So that, to me, The Gentleman stands out as having great cinematography as well. The frames, they're shot in rooms that I feel like, kind of look like this. Hopefully, I want this room to kind of convey that vibe. But really good composition and stuff like that. There's some shows that jump out at me that way. This one, The Drop. Again, it's a movie, not a show, but it is really well done, I think, when it shows the characters' arcs, and there's a twist at the end too. If you don't already know, we do spoilers in Cinema Saturday, so I will be kind of going into that. We can just go right off the bat. So hopefully you've already seen it. And it's when the detective, that's probably one of my favorite parts, is when he leans in to Tom Hardy's character and he says, like, they never see you coming, do they? I forget the character's name, Jimmy or something, but he's like, they never see you coming, so-and-so. And that, even though I can't remember the full line verbatim right now, that line always stuck out of my head as a really cool moment, because the detective is clearly suspicious of Tom Hardy's character the whole time, like the whole time, but throughout the whole movie, but you can tell he has a bit of an affinity for him, and he kind of wants to make things right, but he's clearly like not pushing too far, at least with Tom Hardy's character. So you asked me before we were going to record this episode, why did I choose The Drop, and to discuss that today. I guess honestly, just because it shows the flawed nature of everybody, all the characters. I remember one time when we were watching that here, with or I think it was at Mom and Dad's house, but we watched it with Eric or somebody, and he was, and I said, like, man, like, I feel bad for her, that, like, I don't want her, the female lead, I don't want the main girl, I don't want her to end up with him, or that's kind of rough. That, I mean, Tom Hardy's character murdered somebody, murdered a kid basically. And I know he's trying to be a good person now, but it's like he has that rough story. But as soon as I said that, Eric goes, "No, she's pretty messed up too." And like, but I can't remember exactly what her story was. I don't think it was as bad as his. I don't think she
just had a habit of getting involved with bad people. And her boyfriend was the guy that was bragging about
killing
somebody.
Richie Whelan, I think was the guy's name. Yeah.
So she's associated herself with bad people naturally. So,
but it's like,
but I don't remember her having like any big skeletons in her closet that came out in the movie or anything.
Yeah. So I remember at the time when Eric said that, it made sense to me. Like, yeah, I guess that's true. But right now I can't think of anything that she did that's as bad as murdering somebody.
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's just a cool. I also like it too because it kind of shows the cultural element, of these guys are in the bar, and while I did kind of not so much knock the cinematography, but I said it didn't jump out at me. I will say though, there were some cool moments like when it was showing what a drop is when somebody drops the money at the bar and then they have to hold on to it. So it's like kind of, a rudimentary form of money laundering. It, has to be, but the bar they have to hold on to it for them, and how basically making it seem like they don't have a choice and stuff like that, but it's very systematic, and the camera angles showing the money, how it goes in, is really cool. Really, I'd be curious to know how they did that. It wasn't quite on the same level as that one movie where it's like with Jared Leto in the safe room. Is it called Safe Room?
Oh yeah,
or Lock Room.
I think it's Panic Room.
Panic Room, yeah, Panic Room. So that one was super. Like you see the angles going through keyholes and going through the lock and all the, mechanical parts of a doorknob or something like that, and then it goes into the next room. That was really cool. So that was some high visual effects, not on the same. The drop was not on the same level as that, but the drop still had that cool effect of like, okay, you're getting immersed in the culture a little bit, kind of what happens with these guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been talking enough, like too much. What's something you liked about the movie?
I think I like that the scope is it's just kind of a small scope of where it takes place and the amount of characters, so it really lets you focus on the few elements that the movie has, meaning like it just takes place in one neighborhood in New York, and then it's like only a few characters also, so you spend a lot of time with the characters throughout the whole movie and you get to know them. And I don't know what the technical term would be for the cinematography, but I noticed it holds the camera angle on their faces even after they're done talking, so you can kind of like digest what they just said, and then you can also kind of put yourself in their shoes.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like,
especially with, just on that really quick, on James Gandolfini's character. You already said spoiler alert, so like,
yeah,
because he kind of starts off the movie because it was his idea to have the bar robbed, but you kind of get like to know him and the struggles that he's going through with money and everything like that, and I think he's like taking care of his sister, right? And then at the end, right before he gets killed, it like lets you kind of focuses on him, and you can just see, like, you kind of feel the expression that he has when he knows he's about to get killed and it's over. But you kind of like, yeah. But just like the way that it holds it on there, and then he's a great actor and everything, so you really kind of you feel for him, and you feel like you're in his shoes, even though he's the one who endangered all these people, and I think he killed a few people, at least that one guy throughout the movie.
Yeah, he's definitely a different character, by the way, than Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people know him for that. I remember one time in an interview, somebody asked, like, are you ever worried about being typecast as this guy? And he goes, no, because one, there are worse things to be typecast as. So he didn't mind playing Tony Soprano. But then two, he's like, if you're good enough, I think he said, if you're good enough, or, you know, if it works out for you, then you can get past any you know, like being typecast, you know, anything where people want to put you in a box, you can get outside of that box, no problem, if you're good enough. And I think he definitely did that in this one. But yeah, that's a good point, how you mentioned they show people's faces even after they say the line, which is kind of interesting too, because it's like in real life, that's almost the most telling thing, you know, when if somebody says something like, I'm going to do this, but then the person listening is looking at them, they get the feeling that they don't even believe themselves when they say something. Like, it's almost a giveaway of like, maybe they're not intentionally lying, but they're still not being truthful, and or that it shows their desperation. And it's interesting, the moment at the end when he's about to get killed, how they show his face. A lot of movies don't always do that, where it's the expressions, you know. I almost think maybe that was a bit of a relief too on his end of like,
my problems are over kind of thing.
Yeah, like he's already living in this hell of just, he's constantly doing something desperate.
Yeah.
That's what Tom Hardy's character says to him, like, are you doing something desperate again, you know, that we can't get out of? Because they were both really bad, you know, is really bad before, but Tom Hardy's character has been really trying to kind of turn a new leaf, so to speak, you know, just be a good person. And you know, we happen to be Catholic, but you probably don't have to be Catholic to know that in the Catholic Church, you're not supposed to receive communion if you haven't confessed. If you haven't been in confession for something.
Yeah, if you're in a state of mortal sin.
Yeah, especially so something like murder. He doesn't want to tell anybody about that. Yeah, he doesn't want to tell anybody about that. But he's still going to mass. He's going to church, and that's probably actually, I would say, my favorite element. I mentioned the line from the detective to Tom Hardy at the end, but I like more just the setup of the fact that the detective sees him in church, sees him in mass every week,
not taking communion,
right? Yeah. And he asks him about it. He's like, I noticed you don't take communion, you know. And I forget what he says back to him, but basically just
it was something like, I know it's none of my business or something. And then I don't think Tom Hardy says anything back to him, but after he walks away, he says like, it is none of your business or something, something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
No, he does. And, but that's, man, I cannot imagine being in that position where for both of them, you know, because I think Tom Hardy kind of likes the cop a little bit too. I think they both kind of like each other, but they'll never talk, you know, or at least Tom Hardy won't.
Yeah.
And the detective probably doesn't even mind. If I had to guess, I would say Tom Hardy maybe doesn't even, the detective, I think John Ortiz is the actor's name. He's an amazing actor. He's in all kinds of good stuff. Like he was in Miami Vice and the most jacked up, traumatizing movie ever, Pride and Glory. I'll never forget that. But
he's in Public Enemies too. And then he was.
Wait, that's the one with Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, back to my point though, real quick, was that if I had to guess, he probably doesn't mind seeing Tom Hardy free.
Yeah.
Because I think he likes him, and I think he also knows that for one, at the end when he kills that guy, he believes that he killed that guy who is constantly bullying him, you know. But the ultimate, that's the thing, man. As we're talking about this, because I'm busy, you know. I I love talking about movies. I love movies, but I didn't even rewatch this movie before this episode, and it's like you were saying before we went on, was you feel like you know it pretty well already, and that's the case for me too. But as we're talking about it, I'm remembering more things, and there's so many good lines, like that one line where, or not so much a line, but a moment where the guy who's holding up he's robbing the bar, and he's like, you got to open the safe, you know. But up until that point, he had been pushing Tom Hardy's character, just pushing him. He was abusive to that dog that Tom Hardy taken, and he's like, I don't want him to, you know, that guy was crazy. He's like, I don't really know what I want, but I just want him to know that he like shouldn't have messed with me or whatever. And he's telling him like, you got to give me 10,000. But Tom Hardy's character, that's the moment I was getting to, is that he goes, I'm willing to give you the $10,000. Okay, but that's it. You gotta walk away and take it. And then he's like, no, now you gotta give me the money that's in the safe. That's what you gotta do. And then when he did that, I think Dad was even one. We were watching that movie. He was even the one who said he didn't even know that he was basically signing off on his death right there. Like he didn't even know it, you know.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he turned that down, you could tell Tom Hardy had already made up his mind, like, I'm going to kill this guy because he'll never stop, you know?
Yeah.
It was interesting, you know. I told Dre about that movie, and even Dre even liked it.
Oh, really? When was this?
I don't know why I'm surprised by that. We love you, Dre. If you end up watching this, we're about...
Yeah, Dre is our aunt, by the way.
Dre is our aunt. She has good taste in movies too, but for whatever reason, I didn't think that she would like this one. But she was like, no, it's a good movie. And, cause I know it was even too much for Mom. Like,
oh really?
When Tom Hardy's character was basically kind of revealing that he was the one who murdered the kid, he was like, no, yeah, he paid on time. And Marv called that a viable business opportunity. And but as he was saying that, like, I remember Mom was just like so disgusted, like that was like too much. And then she couldn't even, like the movie just lost her at that point.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's interesting. I just like movies that kind of push the boundaries a little bit with these moral dilemmas, you know. Like we were saying in the beginning, you know, they wind up together in a relationship at that, like, and the way they do it is so cool too, because he's like hoping that she'll come with him on a walk, and then she says, let me get my coat. And you can tell he still doesn't even believe that she's coming, or he's not sure.
Yeah.
He just kind of hopes. And then she comes back out, and then it just shows his face. Kind of like what you were saying with the face, another, I guess just holding on the expressions, you know?
Yeah.
And, that's a great moment too. 'Cause it doesn't even show her. I'm like 99% sure there's there's no frame of her coming out of the house with her sweater, nothing like that. It just shows his reaction of him being relieved, you know, very happy that she's going. And that's cool.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be, they don't really go into the details of like the first murder when he kills the Richie Whelan or whatever. They don't really.
Well, he does. He's like, right? He's like, I shot him and then I stabbed him, like, for good measure. I don't know why, but
they don't. But there was like something else, like the full motivations of it weren't fully revealed, if I remember correctly.
I thought it was just about money, because the kid owed them money, and then he ended up paying them unexpectedly, and then he's like, nobody would even believe that he paid, you know.
Oh, okay, maybe I missed
on
that.
time. And so they kill him. If I remember correctly, they kill him because it'll make them look tougher, because and they're gonna assume that, like, okay, yeah, of course you couldn't pay that debt off, whatever it was like 100,000 or something like that. But he was like kind of a young kid. It'll make them look tougher, and then it'll also but then they can also profit off of that because they got the money from him. So
yeah. Well, I think at the end, his facial expression, it was kind of like it was him deciding that he could be happy even though he did some terrible thing in the past.
Yeah, probably that too.
Yeah, and I think it starts with his introduction to the girl in the first place at the start of the movie with the dog.
Yeah.
Because she's affectionate towards the dog and she wants to take care of it. And he says, because it's a pit bull, I think. Mm-hmm. It's a pit bull puppy. And he's like, that's a dangerous animal. And
Tom Hardy's character says that?
Yeah. In his mind, it's almost like, you know, like, why don't you keep your distance? Like, that's a dangerous animal kind of thing. But she still wants to help it and take care of it. And then I think at some point it's supposed to be like he sees himself as kind of the pit bull that can also be allowed some affection or to be happy
because he's dangerous. Yeah, he's done bad things. Yeah, that's interesting. That's a good point. That's really cool. Yeah, and people say that a lot about dogs too, by the way. It's like when you care for a dog and you see them greet you with affection every single day, there's no way that can't help but rub off on you, you know? But yeah, man, I think that's pretty good as far as like our Cinema Saturday on the drop, you know. I think hope you guys enjoy that movie as well, because obviously with the spoilers, hopefully you've seen it before listening to this episode. But I think I'm probably gonna watch it again, you know. So I don't know, maybe we should set up some kind of a movie night. We could do like a commentary, a viewing party.
Yeah.
in here.
Yeah. You can we can pitch in, get that projector set up.
Yeah. All right. That's it for Cinema Saturday. Until the next episode, guys.